Broncos have made a trade for defensive end John Franklin Myers amid the NFL draft. So we're going to break down this trade for you guys and then touch on the draft and what's going on with Denver towards the end of the video. But a very simple trade, yet another one between the Broncos and the Jets for a pass rusher. We saw the Denver Broncos a few years ago trade for an edge rusher from New York. This time it is for John Franklin Myers for a 2026 sixth-round draft pick. So let's talk about the former fourth-round pick by the LA Rams back in 2018. Last year, in a very crowded Jets defensive line, was able to put up 6 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks. He played a little over half of the snaps for the New York Jets. He also bounced around the defensive line. Really good size, 6'4", 288 pounds. And Denver's pass rush, I think, could use a little bit of a boost. But I don't think this is so much about the pass rush necessarily. I think this is more about the defensive line, right? The 3-4 defense that the Broncos trot out there, well, they added to the 4 part by selecting Jonah Ellis out of Utah in round 3. Now I think they bring in a deeper rotation for Zach Allen and Malcolm Roach and the rest of those 3 down linemen on this front 4 or front 5 for the Broncos. So let me know what you guys think of the trade. They gave up a future 6th-round pick, 2026. It's like scheduling college football games a decade from now. I'm not even sure that the 2026 draft will ever get here. But a 6th-rounder going over to the New York Jets. Give me your grade, A, B, C, D, or F. For me, I think it's a solid like C+, above average grade. The Jets are able to maybe move on from a guy that just didn't really have a really good spot on their D-line because of all the young talent they have coming up the ranks, like Jermaine Johnson, a former first-round pick for them, Will McDonald, last year's first-round pick. And for Denver, they're able to add another guy to help get after the quarterback, but I think even more importantly, they're able to bring some depth to that defensive line. That defensive line was getting pushed around last year. Now, I wanted to see the Broncos go out and improve the D-line specifically for run-stopping abilities. Ultimately, I'm not really sure or sold that John Franklin Myers can do that for them. I mean, I'll pull up his PFF grade for you guys here and just read them out to you on the fly. But last year for the Jets, overall grade of 70.4, very similar run defense and pass rushing grade. In fact, ranking him amongst other edge rushers, we can see where he came in for the New York Jets last year, where a 70 overall PFF grade gave him an overall ranking of 48th out of 112. For reference, Zach Allen, okay? He came in at, drumroll please, nope, not here. So not an edge rusher in PFF size, but nevertheless, the Broncos add to their pass rushing core and their defensive line with this trade, and all it cost them was a future 6th-round draft pick. Now, before we get on to the rest of today's video where we talk about what's next for Denver in the draft, make sure you check out our wonderful sponsor today, which is Game Time. If you want to go catch a playoff Nuggets game, a playoff Avs game, I'll say Mavericks, playoff Avs game, a Rockies game, or any other sporting event in your local area, download the Game Time app today. And remember, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Now, I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Shout out to Game Time for supporting us here throughout the NFL draft. Go support them too if you like our content. We're always going to give you guys the best deals out there. And $20 off a playoff ticket, you're not going to find a better deal than that. So check them out today. Download the Game Time app and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Let's run through the picks that Denver has made so far and what is on the horizon for the Broncos. Of course, in round 1, pick number 12, they went with Oregon quarterback Bo Nix. Fun little NFL draft nugget. That would be the last quarterback taken until Spencer Rattler went to the New Orleans Saints in the middle of round 5. So it really says a lot about this quarterback draft class and how top-heavy it was in the GM's eyes. Then fast forward to round 3, pick 76. They make a great pick in my opinion. Love the selection of Jonah Ellis. Elite first step, great speed, great lineage. His entire family has been born and raised in the NFL. I think at the 12-sack production level he had at Utah a season ago at the age of 20, you put on some more pounds, you put on some more muscle, he's going to turn into a really nice pass rusher for this team. Then they move up to start day 3 with wide receiver Troy Franklin. If you want to get Bo Nix comfortable, Sean, going to get his number 1 wide receiver at Oregon is probably a good way to do that. Now, I do caution teams when they open up the yearbook and think, well, if it worked in college, surely it's going to translate over to the NFL. Not always. It's kind of like having your high school friends and then your college friends, right? It's good to have a good set of different friend groups. And for Bo Nix, I'm sure he'll make new wide receiver friends. But for now, Sean Payton gets him a big vertical threat in Troy Franklin, who's got elite speed, a bit of a smaller and slender frame. But ultimately, if he gets open, if he gets an open space, you're not catching him. Fast forward to pick 145 in round 5. They go with Chris Abrams-Draine, cornerback out of Missouri. He's not the biggest cat, but he's got really good speed and great ball skills. I think he's going to come in as a slot corner for this team. And afterwards, at 147, they went with Notre Dame bowling ball, Audric Estime. He's great at the goal line, 18 touchdowns last year for the Fighting Irish. The Broncos were one of the worst red zone running teams. They bring in a power horse running back like Estime to help out in that area specifically. And then right after that pick, they traded for John Franklin Myers from the New York Jets. My count has it that the Denver Broncos have 2 picks remaining in round number 7. So we'll keep you guys apprised of those selections. And of course, my final draft grades for the Broncos, a tradition unlike any other premature draft grades. So who do you want to draft next? If there is a player out there that you still have your eyes on, get that name in the comment section below. But I do appreciate everyone for coming to hang out with us for another edition of the Broncos Breakdown. We are your home for all things NFL Draft. And here's my favorite part about this. When the draft's over, a lot of other places, they're going to turtle up. It's going to be like you know what in swimwear. Not us here. We're going to make sure you guys have all the information you need all off season long. So go ahead, hit the subscribe button down below, and in return, you're going to get the best free daily Broncos YouTube content out there.